Hello, everyone. That was like a CNN news reporter. Hello, everybody. Welcome to After Curfew. I'm Jillian, and tonight our topics are friendships. We are talking about friendships. We asked you to ask us anything, and we're going to answer some of your questions today. Also, you guys, I'm going to be very fucking real. Vulnerable moment. I went out last night because it is my birthday weekend. So I went to West Hollywood last night, and one thing about West Hollywood, if you live in LA, you know, those drinks, they pour them like 80% vodka, splash of water. Add a lime. I would be lying to you if I said I was feeling fabulous. I'm a little unwell, okay? I'm a little unwell in the head, and physically I'm just not feeling 100% dapper. One of my British besties is in town right now, all the way from London. I don't know what it is when you hang out with British people. Why is it so fun to do a British accent? Like, I am the type of girl that on a night out, give me a couple glasses of wine, I become British. I know I am not the only one who does that. We need answers. Why is it so fun? Anyways, let's get into the episode. First question, I have a close childhood friend that I don't like anymore. How do I escape? I can relate to this so hard. Story time, I had a best friend that I grew up with. I think we met when we were like 2 years old. Would we be friends in any other circumstance than the fact that we grew up together? Absolutely not. We had different values. We had different interests. Just everything about us was so vastly different. When you know someone for a long time, they become family to you. You look at them like, I've known them forever. I know everything about them. I know they're good, bad, and ugly. Just because you know somebody for an extended amount of time does not mean that they get a free ride to be in your life forever. Some people's rides stop and their ticket expires. You are friends with those people because of the circumstances. You grew up in the same town. You're going to the same school because of the proximity of your houses. Would you be friends with them in real life and have the same interests and values and all these things? Probably not. You probably would not be friends with them if it were, not for those things listed. I feel like friendships really blossom and you find your core group of friends in your 20s. You have the freedom to go move to a different city, go be friends with people that like the same interests as you and have the same hobbies as you. Your friendships just become so much richer. So you said, how do I escape it? I don't think it has to be anything dramatic. I think you could be so direct with a friend, and you don't also have to completely cut them off. I feel like a slow burn, especially if there's nothing going on and there's nothing toxic and awful about the friendship. Maybe you just don't align anymore, which was kind of how my friendship was. I was just like, it just felt like a task. And once a friendship feels like a task, it's not good. It's no bueno. The older you get, you will realize like, okay, this is quality. I don't need quantity. So if this friend is just not it anymore, just be direct, send your message, give her the information, because nobody wants to just be like completely kicked to the curb and not given any reason. The types of friendships to avoid. I would say the types of friends to avoid. Number one, the secret hater. This is the type of friend that is always going to bring you down. Like anything that you do that's exciting or fun, they'll shit on it. These people secretly are so fucking sad and unhappy with themselves, and that's really where it's rooted from. But until you fully understand that, it's like, bitch, why do you have such an issue with me? Like, I used to act. I used to do some voice acting, and I used to be in an agency in Chicago many lifetimes ago. I had a friend who I knew, we were both actors, and I knew that I couldn't tell her certain things. I couldn't tell her that I booked a gig or I got this voiceover, I got this commercial, because she would just shit on it. She'd be like, oh, it's just like for YouTube though. Like, it's not anything that serious. Like, no, let me fucking celebrate my wins. Let me be happy about the little things that I'm doing. Not even little things. The things that I'm doing in my life, I'm happy and I want to celebrate them. And I should be able to do that. And my friend should be able to join me in those celebrations. And if a friend is not going to join you in those types of celebrations, that is a secret hater. They don't want anything that's good for you. In my early 20s, I was a very insecure person for a while because I was dealing with like weight gain. I had like some hormonal issues. So I was getting a lot of like breakouts. I just didn't feel good in my own skin. And I'm sure every girl can relate to that at some point in their lives where they just don't feel comfortable with who they are. And that's a part of being in your 20s and learning about like self-love and all that whole journey, like of just really accepting who you are and knowing that our bodies are fucking amazing and we go through different fluctuations and different vibes. And sometimes we're going to look haggard, or we're going to think we look haggard. And some days we're going to be like, yes, I'm that bitch. That's just womanhood. I had a friend that would always put me down. She would always find a way to somehow give me this backhanded compliment. She was my friend at my lowest point. And it really fucking makes sense now because she loved that I was depressed, feeling down, wasn't thriving. She was miserable with herself. And she loved the fact that I was on a low. If you have a secret hater friend and you know that feeling of like you can't really like tell them anything like that's exciting, that's going on like positive in your life. And then also like the backhanded compliments. Like those are the two main things I think about a secret hater friend. If you got it, bitch, run for the hills. Ooh, okay, moving on. Boy crazy. the boy crazy girl. We all have one friend that is absolutely batshit insane for the dick. They put so much of their value and their attention on getting the male gaze and getting the male attention that they will they will grab you by your hair and they will drag you and put you under a bus just to get ahead. Like I had a friend who we would go out and I know her type. I know her type to a T. I know what she's into. I know who she's not into. And if a guy were to talk to me and give me any type of attention, immediately she would shut that shit down. For what? You don't like him. You're not even into this guy. This guy's not even your type. But the fact that any attention was put onto me immediately like triggered something within her to be like, no, it's all about me, all eyes on me in the center of the ring like a circus. When I crack that whip, I don't know the rest of the words. Shout out Britney Spears, we love you, bitch. This is also the friend that as soon as you get into a relationship, it's like crickets. Hello? Nowhere to be found. When you first start dating somebody, of course, you're going to be spending so much time. You're in the honeymoon era, but fostering your friendships is so freaking important. And the boy crazy friend, girl, bye. She's gone. She's halfway across the world. Like we're not going to see her again until it goes south. And then she comes crawling back. Just be aware of those types of friends. Okay, next is the victim. I feel like we've all had a friend that is just always playing victim. Like you can literally give them a rundown or like this is what you need to do to fix your life. Here is like a detailed outline of how to get back on track. They would take it, crumble it up and throw it out because they don't want to be saved. They are always in their woe is me era. And it's so toxic because it really does start to bring you down, because when you have a friend who's constantly like, I can never catch a break and life sucks, you're going to start to feel low as well. Like they just drain your energy. And listen, we all go through shit and I'm not talking about that. But when you have a friend who's constantly negative and always bringing negativity to your door, don't do it. Next is the opportunist. Okay, the opportunist is the friend that is your friend because of a reason. The leeches for social opportunities. Like they will get ahead in life, but with friendships, they will be doomed because they will take. As soon as they get everything they can from you, they're out the door. How to deal with a friend breakup. Ooh, friend breakups are worse than actual breakups. The thing with friend breakups, once you realize that people are not meant to be forever friends, it becomes so much easier. Some people are just here for seasons. Some people are strapping in and sitting next to you through the highs and fucking lows as well. You have your forever friends and then you have your temporaries. And once you really see like, okay, some friendships just expire, and sometimes it's not dramatic. Like you have two types of breakups with friends. You have the ones that are like, this is so toxic. You're triggering everything inside me. This is not healthy for me. I need to go close the door. Then you have the other breakup where it's like, nothing's really wrong. There's no drama. You're just not fulfilling the friendship role the way I'd like you to. And we just don't really see eye to eye. I feel like with friendship breakups, we don't really allow ourselves to be really sad. Allow yourself to grieve it. That's a really intense thing that you just let go of. Like in a romantic relationship, of course, you have to cry it out, take your time, go through the process. But I think with friendships, we don't really allow ourselves to do that as much. So allow yourself to be sad because it sucks. It's hard. Friendship breakups fucking suck. You have to understand that people are always growing and changing, especially in your 20s. If you're in your 20s right now, you are going to go through so many friend breakups. It will happen right to left. I promise you. The older you get, the more you start to really dwindle down your friends and realize that there's certain friends for certain scenes. The way that you evaluate your romantic relationships, you should be doing the same thing for your friendships. Take inventory of your friends. Is this friend serving me? Are they giving me 100%? If they're not giving me 100% and I'm giving 100%, is that a good friend? I think a lot of times we get so disappointed, and this is why a lot of friends have friend breakups, because of our expectations. Everybody in life has strengths and weaknesses, right? Some people are really great at math. Some people are awful at math, like me. I can't even count without using my fingers, but that's a different topic. And I think that's how you kind of have to view friendships. Like everybody has their strengths in a friendship and everybody has their weaknesses. Like there's friends that are going to pick you up from the airport, or if you call them at 3 a.m., they're going to be like, listen, bitch, say less. I'm going to come bail you out of jail. Like those ride or die friends, those are your 100% friends. Then you have the other friends that are like your 30%ers that you expect like, maybe we can go get a drink out, or like go get a cup of coffee and hang out and like catch up for an hour. You can't expect everybody to be 100%. I have friends that are my low maintenance friends, okay? They give me 25%, I give them 25%. We're in a mutual agreement without even really knowing we're in an agreement, but I will level out, like I will tweak out like how much I give to somebody depending on what they give to me. Lowering the expectations will really help you become a better friend to everybody else. Do not pour your energy into somebody that's not giving you any. Pour your energy into all the friends that are giving you the 100%. What I like to say is like, not everybody is an airport friend. Not everybody is going to pick you up from the airport and drop you off at the airport. Okay. That's like some real ass effort. If you were dating somebody and they're not calling you back, they're barely responding to your text messages, and they're not really making any effort, are you going to still fucking date them? Like, no, you're not going to date them. You're going to break up with them, or you're going to fucking ghost them. But let's not ghost in 2024, okay? Unless it's like a friendly Casper and you like slowly drift away, fine. We'll accept that, but don't ghost in 2024. It's awful. It's shitty. It's rude. Once you start dating your friends, it really will show you like who's making an effort and who's not. You're not going to date somebody who's not giving you 100%. So why do that with your friends? Why put up with lower expectations with your friends? What to do when my best friend of 6 years randomly stops talking to me? I think this is such an interesting question because I saw a video on TikTok that went super viral about this girl. She was crying and she was like, my friend of like 10 years stopped talking to me for no reason. Like it just like was so sudden. I'm so shook. I personally don't think it's that random. I don't think that a friend randomly stops talking to you. I've been on both sides of these types of situations. I've been with a friend where the relationship was so toxic for so long and we kept having conversations about like what I needed to change in order to feel good in this friendship, and it just wouldn't happen. We would always bicker, we would always fight. There would be so many fucking issues, but we would still be friends. Whenever I would say and voice what I needed from her and how the way that she treated me made me feel, she would brush it off, she would laugh at me. Like it was never taken serious because it was somewhat still resolved. Like we were putting a Band-Aid on the situation, but we weren't fully fixing it. I always just kind of kept her around. And I remember the last time we stopped talking, it wasn't even dramatic. It was a small little bicker, a small little fight that we got into. And I looked at my phone. I was about to write like a novel. And I looked at it and I'm like, you know what? Nothing is going to change. I can send this. We're going to have our back and forth again. And nothing is going to get resolved. We're just putting a Band-Aid on a shit friendship that shouldn't be a friendship anymore. And I deleted it. And I just stop talking to her. And yes, I could have said something and people could say like, you know, you were wrong. You should have given her some type of like, hey, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. But when you're in a friendship where someone is just not understanding you for so long, sometimes people are just fucking exhausted and they're done. And I think in this situation, and I'm not saying this is your situation, I'm just saying in majority of friendships that end abruptly, there's always a reason. And like I was saying, like, I'm not saying I'm always a victim, okay? We're not playing the fucking victim here, okay? I've been in situations too where I had a friend really call my ass out and we stopped being friends because she was like, you moved to LA, you stopped talking to me. And at that time, I really had nothing to say because she was completely right. I totally put our friendship on the back burner. Anyone who moves to a different city, you get it. It is so hard. Like if you move to a big city, it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm coming from Chicago. Like I came from a big city, but getting your like grounding and trying to figure out like a job, how to make money. Like my focus was that I could have been fostering my friendships more. So yes, what was I at fault? Of course. I mean, there's always two sides, you know, like we all could do better. Always. We're always growing. We're always learning, but I wasn't giving her the time and she felt like I was forgetting her and therefore she didn't want to be friends with me anymore. And that really it hurt. It really hurt me because I didn't think that I did anything wrong. But then when I looked back, I was like, you know what? She's right. I wasn't asking her how she was doing. Whether they voice it or not, there's always a reason as to why somebody breaks up with you as a friend because no one just does that randomly. I mean, maybe somebody does, but I just think if you really want the answers, ask them. There's nothing wrong with that because I've had friendships that kind of dwindled and I was like, hey, what happened? Honestly, it might not even be about you. Maybe they're just going through something and it's more of like a personal journey and not really even about you or the friendship. But I would just ask, always have a conversation to get your clarity. Like don't sit and dwell in your head or go to your counsel of your friends and like try to figure out what's going on. Just go to the source, talk about it, or look within yourself, like journal, figure it out, because I bet you can really like pinpoint like, hey, maybe I was lacking in this department or maybe I wasn't that good of a friend because of XYZ. I would just say do a little self-eval. And also like, just go to the source, talk to your friends. I have a really hard time making friends. Any tips? Ooh, yes, girl. Making friends is so difficult, especially if you moved or you went somewhere else for college and you're out of college, you moved to a big city. It's really hard. So I moved out to LA and I had a couple of friends, but it was really hard for me to make friends. I would find friends through your hobbies. If you're into knitting, find a freaking knitting class and try to make friends through that. Or if you're into dancing, go to dance classes and try to connect people that way. I went out so much by myself when I first moved out to LA because I didn't have that many friends here. I had a few core friends that I like knew from Chicago, but when I came out here, I was really like on my own, and I would go out by myself. I'd be like, you know what? I'm just gonna step out, get a drink, sit at the bar, start talking to people. It made me such a stronger communicator. It made me like, just take your fucking ego and throw it out the door and talk to people, you know? And if you have social anxiety, maybe that's not the best choice, but I would go out, get a glass of wine, have a main character moment, and just start casually chatting to people, especially if you're in a big city. Like if you have a hobby, go see what type of like meetups and events, like things that are happening. Like I guarantee you there's people there that are looking for friendships as well. It is hard and it does take time to find a solid group of people, especially if you're moved to a big city. It really is hard. You would think it'd be easier because there's so many fucking people, but no, it is really hard. So give yourself that and give yourself the time. But I think finding similar interests is going to be such a big game changer, and go out by yourself. How to identify red flags in friends. A big indication of a friend just being an overall red flag is how you feel before you hang out with them. Like, do you have to prep yourself? Do you have to take a deep breath? If you feel like it's charity, or you're like have to like mentally be like, okay, I'm going to hang out with them today, they're not a good friend. Like if you feel drained after you hang out with a friend, that is such a red flag. Like friends are supposed to like bring you up. I'm not saying all the time, like we're not always at 100, but I had a friend that I would always, when we would hang out, I would leave feeling so drained, and just like before we would hang out, like I would have to like mentally prepare myself. I think that is like one way to just know a friend's like not good for you and it's such a red flag, when you feel like you have to shift your energy in order to appease them. So I think if you are feeling like, like it's a task, there's such a red flag of a friend. And like obvious things like being competitive, shit talking. I think friends that shit talk, like listen, I'm all down for a good shit talking sesh, but with reason. I feel like when a friend is constantly bringing down other people, like always bringing down somebody, like has like negative shit to say about everybody else, do not think that they're not doing it about you. Do not think that they are not doing it about you. When someone is constantly talking shit about other people, they are not speaking highly of you in other rooms that you're not in. I guarantee you that. I feel like shit talking in moderation is healthy and good for the soul. But when someone is constantly talking about other people and bringing other people down, they are 100% doing it about you. And that, to me, is one of the biggest red flags when it comes to friendships, point blank, period. How to get over a friend becoming closer to someone else. I think that is such a hard thing that we don't talk enough about. When your friend, you're happy for them because that's your friend. You want what's best for them, right? Like as you should. If they're your real friend, you're excited that they had this new fun friendship, but it does hurt. It really does, because you feel like you're getting the boot, or you're getting like second best. You're being benched. You really do feel like you become second best, and it's just not the case, because there's different friends for different categories. That doesn't mean that your friend thinks anything less of you. They just have a new friendship. And I think we take friendships sometimes and we think of them as competitions. It is not a competition, and you're not replaceable. You're not like Woody. You're being thrown into the doll chest and you're never going to be played with again. Okay. That sounds kind of weird, but you know what I'm saying. Be happy for your friend because they found somebody that they're compatible with. But I do understand there's like this like weird competition and weird like, oh my God, I'm second best now, I'm going to be forgotten. No. It's so not like that. And trust me, I've been there where I had my best friend found a friend and they got really close, and I'm like, oh my God, what does this mean for me? And we will jump to these crazy conclusions. You can always have more than one best friend, and different friends serve different purposes. So maybe that friend is serving one type of purpose and you're the friend that she goes to for all other things. Like different friends will always fit different categories, but that does not mean you are being replaced. That doesn't mean anything about your guys' friendship or dynamic. And if it does, then have that conversation when it arrives. As you grow and as you really start to figure out like what you want and what you don't want, like new friends will come in, new characters are always phasing in and phasing out. So if your friend has found another friend, that doesn't mean that you're being replaced. That doesn't mean that she thinks less of you and you're now a B string. That doesn't mean that at all. And if she does start, distancing herself, then have that conversation. Listen, the overall thing that I can say to you is give the same effort that people give to you, and know that you are a beautiful person and you deserve to only have the best friendships, okay? We are not accepting anything less. Point blank, period. If you like this episode, please do make sure you follow us on all of our social media at After Curfew. We have new episodes coming out every week. Listen to us anywhere you get your podcasts. I'm Jillian Lena, and we will see you next week.